Bhatnagar, a web developer at heart. I have done my BTech in computer science from SRM University and graduated in 2018. My schooling is from DPS Faridabad. That includes my 10th and 12th. I have got 95% in 10th and 80% in 12th. I have got a first class degree in BTech, in my BTech computer science from SRM University. My hobbies include creating games, simple games like tic-tac-toe or a slot machine or maybe a minesweeper, and then deploying it on Heroku or Netlify and then sending them off to my friends. Also, reading books is something that I associate with a lot. So that's about me. Uh, Also, I am 24 years old and I live in Faridabad. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Do I have a TA experience with coding ninjas? No, unfortunately not. I experienced coding ninjas after my college ended. So I did a course with coding ninjas in data structures and algorithms with Java, and I excelled in that. It was under Manisha ma'am, and I got a top performer certificate under 10 rank. Okay, but I have a TA and a teaching experience with the Climber. So after my college ended, after my graduation, I did a job with TCS and also have taught with the Climber. The Climber has a subsidiary branch, a sister branch called My Captain, where I have worked as a full-time mentor and I have mentored students in the field of web development in C++. So I have acted as someone who takes live sessions on a monthly basis. Like every week, I take live sessions, and I have acted as someone who checks their submissions, and also as a TA, like solving their doubts, handling all the problems, maintaining the WhatsApp group. So that's about my TA experience. But unfortunately, not with the coding ninjas. But soon, maybe, who knows? Okay, so do I have a teaching experience of kids? Yes, I have as I told, I have a teaching experience with the Climber in the subsidiary branch of Climber that is called My Captain, and I have mentored students there in the field of web development and C++. Okay, so moving on, and if you want to check how my live sessions are and what is the content of my live sessions, so please do have a look at in the GitHub repository, my GitHub repository. I have a pinned repository called July 2020, so you can have a look. Okay, do you think it's a good idea to teach students coding? I think it's a fantastic idea to teach students coding because it will give them a wider perspective of what they want to do in life. Like when you come to college, like it's so much. For example, you start with basic coding languages like Java and C++. Then you have to decide which side of development you want to be, like Android, website development, or you want to go into machine learning. That has also various stratas like the TensorFlow. You want to go with the AI deep learning, or you have to go into data science and work with different stuff with like UI path and stuff. So I think that is a lot bit for a student who has also taking the burden of his college studies. So to understand that what where your interest primarily lies in, and also not to miss out the fun from other development fields, you can and you must, as a student, as a kid, have an experience with coding. And also, as Steve Jobs said, this is something which is a truth, that if you everyone in this country should learn how to code because it teaches you how to think. So it would give them a wider perspective. And suppose, see, if a school kid has a portfolio and he can make games, because a school kid, you love games, you play games, you have PlayStation and stuff. But if you start making games with web, and like you can make your slot machines and just send it off to your friends, and you can make your snake and ladders and stuff, so that will be like so cool, I think. Okay. The fifth question is, how will teaching coding to kids benefit you? Basically, it will be kind of a self discovery for you. Sorry for that noise, because I am working from home. That's why you are hearing the noise. Okay, so how will teaching coding to kids benefit you? It will benefit me in ways undiscovered. Like, first of all, it will be a form of self discovery, because uh, associating with young kids and the young minds is something that I have always been interested in. Also, like after my 9 to 6 job, and if I get a chance to teach kids, that is somewhere my interest lies in. Like that is kind of delight of my day, or you can say a highlight of my day. So basically, it's like it's something, some form of self discovery, and also something of a passion, because teaching is my passion. Okay, give an example of your failure and how you overcame it. So during my school years, there have been many failures, but I passed my graduation with a good percentage, so that was not a failure. And I after that I got a job also. So, but the failure that I can remember right now, which comes to me, the word failure, which brings a memory, is I failed as a public speaker, as a communicator during my school time. Like I was a very in theory based person. Like I used to think that there is no need to learn how to speak English, and there is no need to be a good communicator. But once I participated in a debate, and like the other side just destroyed me. So I worked on myself, I worked on my skills, started reading books, started reading newspapers, watching interviews of I should not shy away from saying, but Shah Rukh Khan, Obama, and I used to see how they speak, like also the pronunciation and everything. So I used to was watching a lot of TED talks, a lot of interviews of good stars, BBC interviews. So from there, I used to catch the accent and catch the how they speak, and that is how I overcame it. And after that, I have been taking live sessions. I have done various public sessions. So I think I overcame it. I hope I overcame it. Okay, thinking about it gives me goosebumps. Okay, so what would be more effective learning for kids, and why? Coding classes in school or coding courses with coding majors? Uh, During my school time also there was computer science lecture there. Computer science, we do not used to call it lecture, we used to call it periods. So computer science periods there, but that was more theory based. Like I think that it's my feeling that anything that happens in school happens for marks. Like if you start a new subject called coding in schools for K-12 students, it will become more grade oriented. And I have experience with my BTech also, and I have experience with my school also. If you start something as a grade oriented, it does not become, people don't want to discover it, people just want to cram it and just want to pass the test and ace the test. And like it will not be like how to develop websites and how to develop the best websites in the world. It will be about how to get the best marks in that subject. And this is the problem that we can solve with a platform like Coding Ninjas, because Coding Ninjas will help them, they will give them the best material, the best mentor, and also apart from this, they will give them the best teaching assistants, which I have seen in batches that I have attended with Coding Ninjas. So it's like you really learn, and it's not about marks, it's not about the grade. That is something that is subsidiary. It comes along the way when you do good work. So I think that I will choose the latter, coding course with Coding Ninjas, 100% for a school going kid, because it will help him to kind of discover things, like to how to create, to be a creator and not to be a crammer. Okay, how many hours can you dedicate for Coding Ninjas per day? See, I can dedicate after my job on weekdays and like full time on Saturday, Sunday. So I can dedicate about 3 to 4 hours after 6:30 p.m. on weekdays, and n number of hours, any number of hours on weekends. That is not an issue. Okay, what are your strengths and weaknesses? My strength is that I always thought that my strength is that uh, I have many limits. Like I'm not the best physicist. During my school time, I used to love physics, but I did not grow up to become a physicist. So I know that I'm not a physicist, but I but that's why I will not but if I want any expert opinion about physics, or if I want something to know about physics, I know where to go to a physicist. So I have limits and I know my limits, and that makes me limitless. So I think that my biggest strength is that I know my limits. And what is my biggest weakness? My biggest weakness, I think, is I don't know how to give myself a haircut, because I could not go out to give myself a haircut. So this is how I look. Also, according to my family, I'm not an early riser. Although I rise about 8 a.m. or 7 a.m., but they want me to rise even before that. So that can be a weakness. I feel that I know that people have over the ages told that waking early has many benefits, and but I have not been able to do so. So that's my weakness. Okay, what makes you suitable for the role? I think that I have an experience with teaching. I have a professional experience also, and uh, this is something I love. So these three things are the pillars which support and make me suitable for the role. Also, that I know that there are so many sources, so many paths to reach a place. But with coding ninjas, I think what coding ninjas always aims is to give the best and the shortest path. So I want to contribute to that. Okay. So we have come to the bonus question session. So the bonus question is, answer any of the following. How will you explain the concept of loops and functions? Loops. Okay. Okay. So uh, see, suppose you have a plate full of chips, and you have to eat the whole, like eat whatever is in your plate, all the chips in your plate. So with one line of code, with one statement, you write, pick a chip and eat it. So you eat a chip, you write again, eat a chip, you eat a chip, you eat a chip. But suppose there are 100 chips in your plate, so you have to write it 100 times. Suppose we are talking about only a plate that can take 100 chips, but suppose take a large container like the one in factories, and you have suppose 10,000 chips in that, round chips like Cheetos, you can say Cheetos in that, and then you will have to write 10,000 lines like eat a chip, eat a chip, eat a chip, into 10,000. So what you can do is you can have a condition that until and unless there are zero chips left in the plate or left in the container, eat a chip. So that way, this is a loop. This is an example of loop. So loops help to do one thing many times, and how many times is something that you can decide and decipher. You can have a condition, you can have a counter. For example, if you want to raise your hand 5 times, so you can write while raise your hand 5 times, and this is just a pseudo code. But when we write code in different languages, this will be different. So while the counter for raising hands is 5, raise your hand. So you will do raise your hand, 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 5, and then it will exit the loop. But if it is 100, then it will the hand will be raised 100 times. But suppose you have to not use loops and write that for 500 times raising the hand, so you have to write 500, raise the hand, raise the hand, raise the hand. You have to write 500 lines of code. But if you use a loop, you just have to write a loop, write a statement, if write a how can I say, write a control statement in the sense that while hand raise counter, hand raise count is not equal to 500, raise your hand. So that will make it so cool and so easy. So this is loops. And about functions, okay, suppose you are in a room full of chocolate boxes, and you have suppose you have 10 chocolate boxes, and there are steps to open a chocolate box, so that no chocolate inside it gets harmed. That is, first of all, tear the packaging, take a scissors and cut. The first step is take the box in your hand. Second is take a scissors and cut the packaging in the route that is defined. There is a defined way of tearing, so you have to tear with the scissor using that route. And the third is pour it into a container, pour it into a plate. So you have a can of full of chocolates, and then you have to follow 3 steps to open the chocolate can, and then have it in a plate. So first is pick a box, second is tear with a scissor, and third is pour it into a plate. Suppose you have to pour one can, you have to do 3 steps. You write 3 lines, take the box, tear with a scissor, and pour in the plate. Now you have to do for 10 cans in the room. You have 10 cans. One can you have opened, now for the 10 cans. So you will again go to every can and repeat these 3 steps. Suppose you have 100 cans. So now what you can do is you can write a function. You can write a function. Uh, your function will contain these three steps. Your function will contain these 3 steps, and then you can use a loop. So every time until those 10 cans have been opened, this function will execute. So that means you will have to do nothing, just write a function and then put that function inside a loop and tell the loop to execute till 10 times. So I think you understand what is a function. Function is basically an encapsulated container which can contain your code. It's basically kind of a black box under which you can put lines of code that you have to execute sequentially many times, you will need many times. So that is about function and that is about loops. I hope you understood the example, and if it's not clear, so 100% we can take it again. Okay, so this was explaining to a fifth grade student using simple language and real life examples. So this is Aadhar signing off. I hope you liked it. Thank you.